And now we are joined by UFC lightweight Austin Hubbard, who faces Vinc Pichel at UFC Vegas 34, Gastelum versus Cannonier. First off, Austin, how is the training camp going into this fight?
Yeah, it's been great. No injuries or, any setbacks, feeling good. So yeah, it's been good. I can't complain. Ready to ready to get in there.
And I've seen you've been training with UFC bantamweight Cory Sandhagen. How has it been getting some rounds in with him? Because obviously he's championship material in the bantamweight division.
Yeah, man, it's awesome. I mean, he's typically I don't train with bantamweights, but he's so good and he's so fast and he has the range and everything and the height to, train with us at lightweight. So, but he's like so much faster than, your typical lightweight. So I feel like it's good work, he's always a tough round. So he's always, giving me good rounds and learning stuff from him and things like that.
And just quickly, he fought last weekend against TJ Dillashaw. What did you make of that fight? Did you feel like he won that?
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see an argument for both sides. One thing's for sure, it was a damn close fight. Um, would I have given him the win? Yes, but am I biased? Probably. So yeah, I mean, it was like I said, it was a close fight. I think you can make an argument pretty easily for each way, who won, who lost. It was what it was, though. I'm sure, no doubt that he'll learn from that and grow from that and come back much stronger because of that.
And I read that this is your upcoming fight is your last one UFC contract. Does that make a win even more important? Is it go big or go home? And also, do you think it is a win that is required to get a new contract, or do you believe it's just a good performance against an opponent as high quality as Vinc Pichel?
Yeah, being it's the last fight, obviously it's important. I mean, every fight's important to win at this level, but yeah, I think regardless, I don't. I think I'm gonna get re-signed regardless, win or lose. But obviously, a good win, will help. The starting pay and the pay and everything on the start of the new contract. So, yeah, with with that in mind, obviously it is, go big, go home type of scenario because I want to leave it all out there and prove to the UFC that uh, I earned another contract and want to obviously keep fighting for them.
And do you believe this is your toughest opponent to date? Because obviously it is your biggest name to date. If we look at the record of Vinc Pichel and what he's done in UFC, I think he's only lost one fight, and that was to Gregor Gillespie. So he's quite the name. And do you think that he is the toughest opponent you faced?
Yeah, he's been in the UFC for quite a while. He's had some injuries that has kind of kept him less busy, but yeah, he's a solid competitor and force in the lightweight division. Um, so yeah, he's probably definitely the toughest, fight to date. I think every fight that I have, I view as, this one's the toughest, this one's the toughest. I mean, so yeah, I would say definitely he's the toughest.
And you've rotated wins in the UFC. This is something you kind of unfamiliar in your career. What do you think is the reason behind this, and that you've struggled with kind of finding the consistency, and what could be different going into this fight, chasing that 2-fight win streak?
Yeah. So something I've, really dove into and started working on since that Joe Selecki loss was kind of my mental mindset towards certain things and making sure that I am mentally prepared fight night and focused. Um, and I just make sure I'm really dialed in, to show up fight night and compete and perform. And I feel like that's the biggest change that I've made. I've hired a mental coach. I've done a lot of like self reading of like mental training type books and things like that. And I think it's helped very much for sure. So I think that'll definitely be a major factor in, putting a streak together, and a helping factor anyways, that is.
And do you think the mental game is just as important as a physical game in terms of as a mixed martial artist?
Yeah, absolutely. Before I got into the UFC, to me, I always think about the fight and whatnot, but once you get to the UFC, it just takes even that much more, focus, work, and everything. It gets amplified by like 10, because UFC is the top of the line, top of the food chain, so to speak. And it was just learning lessons. I you win some, you lose some, and you lose and you learn. And obviously, like I said, this is top of the line, so I had to learn some lessons, make some adjustments, and come back stronger. And that's what I'm here to do.
Not to jinx anything, but hopefully, you'll be the same opponent on fight night. With your last opponent, you're supposed to fight Tom Levy, and then it was a late, short notice change to Dakota Bush. How much how difficult is it having a late opponent switch for you? Because obviously, all your preparation is typically for another fighter.
Yeah. I throughout my career, especially before the UFC, I had consistent uh fights where my opponents were changing. I mean, I think I've had as much as four different opponents in 1 week, the week of the fight, before the UFC, which that happens at that regional level. And I think that was what my second fight that I've had in the UFC that was a last minute replacement. Um, I honestly, I don't mind, or it is what it is. Like, to me, I'm in there, I'm ready to fight, uh, and I believe I have the skill set to fight anyone in any scenario. Standing on the ground, wrestling defense. So I believe I have a well-rounded game, so I'm never too worried about like a last minute opponent, and then them being completely different from who I was supposed to fight. So it is what it is to me. I don't really care one way or another.
And your teammate at Elevation Fight Team, Justin Gaethje, and fellow UFC lightweight, he has a new opponent set for his return to fighting against Michael Chandler. I just want to get your thoughts on that matchup and kind of on the whole top of the lightweight division right now, with supposedly Dustin Poirier fighting Charles Oliveira for the title.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a very exciting matchup. They kind of seem to have a little bit of bad blood right now, at least the start of it. So I think that will add to the excitement of the fight. Well, Gaethje is coming in there to put you out regardless, and Chandler, he's coming to do the same, it seems. So I think it's going to be very exciting. I obviously I'm gonna pull and believe in my teammate Justin Gaethje. I think he's going to go out there and knock him out. I think that Chandler has showed a little bit of being susceptible to the knockout. Getting caught with that hook. And Gaethje throws a really good left hook. So yeah, I'm going with Gaethje. Knocking him out.
And what do you make of the whole kind of the UFC lightweight division right now, with Conor obviously out and Dustin Poirier fighting Charles Oliveira for a title, supposedly?
Yeah, I think the whole thing, it was kind of weird. I think Poirier, before, I think he deserved to fight for the late vacant lightweight belt to begin with. Obviously, he wanted to fight McGregor and chase that money, which I don't blame him there. But now that he that's done with, and he's looking for the title now. I do believe he's probably going to win the title. Charles Oliveira is very well rounded, though. He's very dangerous on his feet and on the ground. But I think Poirier is just kind of at a higher level right now. I mean, he's just on point. He's very well rounded himself, and I think he has a little bit more power in his hands and a little more diversity in his striking and whatnot. I do see Poirier winning that fight as well. So we'll see how it goes out though.
With Justin Gaethje being a fellow division of you, have you been training with him much, or has he been kind of inactive recently?
No, he's an awesome training partner, man. Even when he doesn't have something lined up, he's in the gym, you know, giving people who have fights rounds and trying to help. So yeah, I've been getting, you know, all, you know, rounds with him, getting work in, and it's been nice. So I'm sure it's about to get a lot more intense now that he has a contract signed though.
And just to get your final prediction for your fight, how do you see it playing out?
You know, honestly, I see it as a 3-round war. He's a tough veteran. He doesn't give up. I don't give up. He's well rounded. He has some power in his hands. I just feel I'm a bit more athletic and a bit more you know, explosive and faster, and I can kind of use that to my advantage and edge out a 3-round war.
Would you predict the fight of the night? Is that kind of your prediction?
I'm hoping so. Could really use that 50K bonus. But yeah, I do believe, you know, it has the making to be that type of fight, because like I said, he's a tough guy. He's well rounded, and I'm a tough guy. I'm well rounded. I think it's gonna be a dogfight, honestly. You know, I'm looking forward to the challenge, that's for sure.
And just quickly, good. I just remember tonight, Max Rohskopf, who you fought, I believe it's 2 fights ago. He's made his return to fighting after that kind of controversial retirement on the store. What do you make of all that? Are you kind of impressed that he's made that return despite all the critics and that around him?
Yeah, man, I'm happy to see him get back in there. He has a ton of talent, you know what I mean? Like, if you just watch his, you know, jiu-jitsu matches, his professional jiu-jitsu matches, and even just any of his fights, you know, you can tell the guy has some real talent. He just needs to kind of get his mind right, you know, put some focus into getting his mind right, and which, you know, he's returning. So apparently, I'm assuming he probably has done that. And I'm sure he'll be successful. You know what I mean? He has the skill, that's for sure.
Well, thank you for joining me, and all the best on
Yeah,
August 24th.
yeah. Thank you for having me. Thank you.